You can just keep it casual, it's fine. However you want to do it.
Welcome back to Romania.
Thank you.
How would you describe the Romanian audience?
Do you know what's very interesting is when we come to countries, some countries, we get to certain countries and everybody asks us how we think of the audience. Because I think there's a concept that people might not know anything about Romania or the people, and they want to see how do you think of us in this country from the rest of the world, because there has been this connection for so long. But when I come, it's like I don't think of it as Romanian audience. It's like I think it's an audience, and everywhere's different. Everywhere is so different. But here is really beautiful. I like that. It feels really very youthful. It seems like great optimism in people's eyes, and I don't know. It's strange because in the West, people are, in America, United States. I see, like in Western Europe, people are feeling. You can feel this kind of neurosis and this kind of. The people here just seem. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country, and people seem very alert.
Congratulations for your new CD, Choice of Weapon.
Have you listened?
Just one song.
Just one song? Just one song? Oh my God.
That's all.
Got to do your homework. What song do you listen to? Don't know. Okay. I'll let you off. It's okay. It's okay. I'll let you off.
Can an artist...
do you know what I like is the fact you said you've listened to one song and you admitted that, because many journalists speak to me, they talk to me, so you have a new record, tell me about it. And I go, what do you want to know about it? And they go, well, tell me about your record. And I said, well, what do you want to know? He says, you want to know what was recorded, what the influences are, what the process was. And I said, and then say, name a song, and they're like, I said, you haven't listened to the record, have you? And they're like, so then why front? Why lie? You didn't lie, I like that. It's honest.
Can an artist in your position, with lots of fans and a long career, put out a record whenever he wants to?
Sorry?
Can an artist in your position, that has lots of fans and a long career, put out a record whenever he wants to?
It's really strange. You can't make a record happen. I mean, you could force something, but I don't think it'd be very good. Like forcing ideas are very good. You got to kind of wait till you accumulate energy. You build up a certain amount of energy and ideas, and then it grows into something. And then you go, okay, we're going to do a record now. Because we spent so many years, when we first started, it was like record, tour, record, tour, record, tour, record, tour, record. And when we got to Ceremony in the early 90s, it became like a process, a conveyor belt. And we didn't like this process, and it killed the band. And then we made a record in 94, it was fresher, it was younger, and more spontaneous. And then after that, when we came back, after 4 years, we decided that we didn't want to do that anymore. We didn't want to make records like a conveyor belt, make records when we're ready to make records. So this is the way we make records now. So the good news is that we start with Chris Goss, the producer, 2009, 2010, and we started songwriting pretty strongly, got into the really good space for writing songs. So now we have many songs that we haven't recorded yet. So we could make a new record tomorrow if we wanted to start the process. So I think our next record will happen a lot sooner than.
Do you see a future for CDs?
No. I think CDs is a kind of a dying format. The idea of the album, well, I think it's still potentially it's how you put an album over. People have very short attention span, so I think it's good to give in pieces. But sometimes you have to tell the whole story. You can't make it a serial. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to tell the whole story. It's like one thought. This record was kind of done like one thought. We did these capsules, the EP capsules. They were like stories, story 1 and 2, story 3 and 4. I don't know. We got to keep moving and evolving. I mean, it's as you get older. I mean, I've seen so many formats. We've seen vinyl, cassettes, 8-track, CDs. Now was, we had CDRs, MP3s, FLAC files. My favorite is vinyl. I love vinyl. I always love vinyl.
Why? The sound is...
There's something about vinyl, it's just magic. When you open it up, there's something about the process of having it. Maybe it's because you can hold it. It feels like something. It feels something substantial. It's organic. There's an organic quality to it. It's like oil and paper. It's just, there's an organic... It doesn't feel fragile. It feels strong. When you pick up a CD, the boxes break and CDs break and they just make a mess in your house. I like the way vinyl looks in my house as well.
Are you a collector?
I wouldn't say I was a collector. Well, I don't collect. I listen to music. I mean, I listen to my records. I don't stick them on stick them in the shelf and don't listen to them. I listen to my records. I love listening to music. So now is trying to rebuild my collection. Some things that are missing that I have lost over the years that I have to replace because they're scratched or get damaged when I'm traveling. But I'm always looking for music. Like right now I'm looking at a lot of krautrock, the Komisch bands, Neu, La Düsseldorf, Can, a lot of krautrock bands. I'm picking up their records. Do you know these bands like Kraftwerk?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Bowie, so the German period that was very influential for him. I'm very interested in collecting these records, finding them, acquiring them, but so I can listen to them, not so I can go, it is sealed and I will keep it, and never listen.
Do you think that young musicians today still pay attention to the roots of music?
Not particularly. Maybe some, maybe a few, but I don't think so. I don't think, why should they? There's no rules. They just respond to the environment they're in. It's interesting because as we see these bands get older, like the Rolling Stones and U2, I don't get the impression that they really try to help young bands. They help themselves. And people talk about the industry being in a mess because I think so many artists that came, they only really care about themselves. They never gave anything back. Yeah, it's great having a young band open for you at a concert, but that's just giving a band a stage. But they only did that so they look cool, have young bands playing so they look cool. The businessmen. I did a festival in 1990 called Gathering of the Tribes. It became Lollapalooza. That was the original festival. And that was my way of trying to create something, trying to give back to the community. And I was 27 years old when I came up with that. I had that awareness when I was a kid. You've got to give something back. So we continually have this awareness about trying to help people when and where we can. We don't have much ourselves, but we try and help artists and draw attention to other artists, and it's important.
Writing songs gets harder as life gets easier?
Writing songs gets harder as life gets easier. I've never had an easy life, so I don't know. I don't know what an easy life is. What is an easy life? I don't think life is easy. I think life's, well, certainly for me, it's been a lot of obstacles, challenges. Many people, most of my friends, same thing, obstacles, challenges. Everyone has a different path. I think, you connect with what you have, and if you understand, you have an awareness of how to take that energy and put it into something, then maybe that's, I wouldn't say easy, but you live in awareness, so you're kind of familiar with the process. But to learn the process takes a long time.
The band formed in Bradford. What was... No? I read that...
The cult started in London, in Brixton, 1984. Southern Death Cult started in Bradford in 1981. It was a different band.
What was the music scene there in the 80s? And what made you go
when we started?
Liverpool?
Wow.
To London?
No, to London. Well, I mean, the music scene then was like Joy Division, Bauhaus, Public Image, Susan the Banshees, postmodern, new wave. The Clash was still going. We opened for the Clash. I opened for the Clash in 1982. The Ramones were still going. Some punk bands were still going. A lot of bands like Talking Heads were going. it's just before New Romantic, you know. And people talk about Gothic period. It wasn't really Gothic. It was more like post-punk, death rock. It was kind of different. It was punk in a way because we couldn't play our instruments. I couldn't. We didn't know what we were doing. Billy could play guitar because he taught himself. He'd been playing guitar since he was about 15 years old. So he kind of grew up with the Sex Pistols, and then he liked bands like Free and Mick Ronson, David Bowie, that kind of stuff, which is what I grew up with when I was 10 or 11. Bowie was very important. Bowie's always been important, I think. It's very, very important, yeah.
With all the technology that surrounds us, is radio airplay still important for an artist?
Well, it depends where it is. I mean, some countries have radio, other countries don't. United States, radio's destroyed. It's destroyed. It's gone. You have a company called Clear Channel. They buy all the radio stations. So they program all the radio stations with the same program. You have they decide what they're going to put on 180 stations around the country. They control the programming. There's very, very few radio stations that have their own programming now in the United States. So radio's changed very, very much. And they put a lot of bands together that kind of don't belong together. You know, sometimes they play classic rock, hard rock, post-punk, alternative, and they put it all in one. And it's very diverse. But it makes it narrower. Also, people listen to radio in America because they drive a lot. They listen to satellite radio a lot. Satellite radio is pretty big, but it's very difficult right now to get your music over.
But when you do an album, does the label or the producer tells you should do a song that's radio friendly?
Not now.
I don't know.
No. We did when we were younger, yeah. They did, but we didn't listen anyway, so we never listened to them. We go, okay, sure, just do what we want anyway. The only time we tried to do something commercial was when we did a song for a film, Gone in 60 Seconds. The song was written, all the words were written, it's for the movie. And the film studio and the producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, wanted it exactly like the demo, like exactly. So we thought, okay, we'll try this, and we didn't like the experience. It was like, we don't like this. It's like when your mom gives you something to taste, you're like, I don't like it. But we had to do it, but we tried it, it just didn't work for us. And this record, nobody told us what to do at all. In fact, we delivered it to the album. The record label didn't hear it until it was finished. We go, here it is, it's done. And they heard it, and they went, okay. They let us do whatever we want.
That's luck? Or
well, they trusted us. They trusted that we were going to make something good.
You played with Robbie Krieger and Ray Manzarek.
Yes.
How did that start?
That was a long courtship. It was about 12 years before that happened. I met Danny Sugarman. Do you know Danny Sugarman?
No.
He wrote the book No One Here Gets Out Alive with Jerry Hopkins. And what happened with the Doors was that everybody forgot the Doors, pretty much. And about 1979, Apocalypse Now is the end. And then the book came out, No One Gets Out Alive, around about 1980, I think. That came out, the book was very influential. And then people started listening to Doors again, because Apocalypse Now was a big movie when it came out. And Danny Sugarman was managing the Doors at that time. So they started to produce lyric books and some videos and documentaries and stuff like that. At the end of the 1980s, Oliver Stone made the film, The Doors. That was huge. And that's when I met Danny Sugarman for the first time, just before they started making the movie. He wanted to meet me and see if I was be interested in acting, and I was like, no, I'm not interested in acting. But we had a friendship. So then I got introduced to Ray and Robbie, maybe. I got introduced to Ray and Robbie at the party. They had a party for at the Whiskey for the Doors movie, and Ray and Robbie were playing with a band, and Billy Idol was singing, and Danny Sugarman called me and said, please come down because this is a disaster. This guy's drunk, he's awful, please come and help us. So I went down and did Break On Through and sang a few songs, LA Woman, and that was the first time I ever sang with them. Then I sang with them again. I didn't sing with them again until it was a lot later, it was like 1990. 1999. I sang with Robbie in the club, and then I'd see them I'd be invited if they did a book signing or something. I always get invited. So it was a long courtship, happened about 12 years, and then we did the VH1 special, Storytellers, and they wanted to go out and play after that. So they asked me if I wanted to do it one show. So I did one show, and then they said, "Do you want to do another show?" I was like, "Do another show." Then it was 5 shows, then it was 10 shows, then it was 30 shows, then it was 150 shows. So after 150 shows, I went, I can't do this anymore, because it was like eating too much chocolate, you know?
How was the audience?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Young?
From 6 to 70, I mean, it's everybody. Played stadiums in South America, stadiums, 60,000 people. It's crazy. It was crazy. You know, like we went to the UK for the first time. We sold out Wembley. We played like big venues, 12,000, 15,000, 10,000, 8,000, big venues. They were very, very big shows. But I felt that we did everything we could do in that lineup. You know, everybody got to see it. Well, not everybody got to see it, but hardcore Doors fans got to see it. We went all over the world. We played Japan, Australia. We played all of Europe, pretty much, Western Europe, South America, Central America, North America. So we toured a lot with that. And now they're touring with David Brock. I like David, but I'd definitely do it again. I maybe do. I don't know if they ask me, but we'll see.
A long time ago, well, a few years ago, I got a CD. It's called Iomi, and there is a song that I loved from the second I listened to it the first time. Flame On.
Flame On.
You wrote it with
Tony Iommi. Yeah, of course.
And how was to?
He's amazing. He's incredible. He's a very, very cool guy, very down to earth guy. Very humble, really humble. But when I heard this piece of music, it reminded me of I like the idea of Black Sabbath when they first started, because it wasn't a joke, but they were kind of interested in horror films. It wasn't satanic or anything. It was just, they were exploring something that was almost cinematic, dark horror, cinematic, and I also like the idea of they were doing almost like science fiction horror genre in a very cool way, kind of abstract. So I was thinking of the Marvel comics, like X-Men and Fantastic Four. There's a quality to those comic books in that period. And when I heard this music, it reminded me of I thought of character from Fantastic Four, Johnny Flame. Johnny is like the Human Torch, because I had this picture and it said Flame On. I saw this in a comic book and I was like, this is great, because it kind of fits. And it was like this, I had this vision of a desert with this huge palace or castle in the desert, and traveling to this place, and this idea of this, they built this castle, this huge palace in the desert to protect from this guy who's a Human Torch. And it seemed to fit with me. It was very kind of science fiction, abstract, and the music I had these images come up. So that was the lyric. Of course, the British journalists didn't understand it. They didn't get it. They were like, because they drink beer, so how could they? It wasn't for them. It wasn't for straight conservative guys. It was for people with imaginations, expanded imaginations. I like Alejandro Jodorowsky and Mobius. Do you know these guys? Jodorowsky did Holy Mountain movie, and Mobius, they did French. Well, he's Chilean, or I think he's from Chile. But they were metaphysical, psychedelic pioneers. So I like this element in Black Sabbath's music too. Very complex, right? But
thank you very much.
And you know what? Brian May played on that song as well.
Yeah.
And Matt Cameron. So it's me, Matt Cameron, Brian. It's fucking amazing. Tony Iommi is pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.